You got back pain. Of course you do. At our age, the back isn't a machine anymore. It's a biological debt collector, and it takes its payment in pain every single time you bend over. And you know who's profiting off that back pain? A billion-dollar industry that's getting fat on your helplessness. It's the fresh food industry. They make you believe the only way to get clean fruit is to go to the supermarket, hunch over a shopping cart, then hunch over again, hauling those heavy bags full of chemicals and fear. Or worse, they sell you the idea of some Eden-like garden with perfect raised beds, where you have to kneel, bend, and destroy whatever vertebrae you have left. That's not a dream. That's a cruel con designed to make you fail, so you come crawling back to their store. But here's the brutal truth they don't want you to know. Nature never designed a garden that requires you to bend down. Look at an untouched forest. The trees grow tall, reach upward, and drop food right into your hands. Our ancestors, people in their 60s, 70s, even 80s, with backs worn down by war and labor, they didn't do kneeling gardening. They survived and thrived on something I call the sky-high orchard. They planted trees that, once they took root, outlived their children and grandchildren, bearing fruit year after year without a single drop of fertilizer or a single bent back. And they didn't pay a dime to the people selling pain pills. Today, Garden Center Point is going to expose 10 immortal fruit trees. Trees that even when your back hurts so badly you can't pick up a fallen leaf, you can still plant once and harvest for a lifetime. Especially tree number 1 on this list, a drought-proof monster from the harshest deserts. I guarantee you've seen it hundreds of times, but you never knew it's a survival machine that could feed you when everything else is dead. And I'm also going to tell you why tree number 6 is such a rebel that the industrial agriculture system absolutely despises it. So much that they won't even put it on supermarket shelves. Sit up straight. Let's begin. Number 10. Mulberry, Morus alba, the survival machine thrown to the curb. Look at the fence corners, the sidewalk cracks, or that ignored strip behind an old garage. If you see a wild tree dropping dark purple berries all over the ground, there is a good chance it is mulberry. And most people treat it like trash. They complain about stains, call a tree cutter, and then drive to the store to buy overpriced berries in a plastic box. That is the joke. A free fruit tree gets chopped down, while the supermarket sells you the weaker version. Mulberries are rich in dark anthocyanins, especially compounds like cyanidin-based pigments, the same family that gives deep berries their value. Traditionally, mulberry has been respected in Asian herbal systems for blood and vitality. You do not have to turn that into a miracle claim. You only need to understand the principle. A tree that feeds birds, stains pavement, and grows without permission is not a weed. It is a survival machine. And for a bad back, mulberry is useful because it grows upward. You do not crawl around for it. If you let it become a giant, it can get too tall, so control it early. Cut the main trunk around eye level, and it will respond by throwing out side branches like an umbrella. Later, you stand upright, pull a branch gently toward you, or lay down a tarp and shake. The fruit rains down. No kneeling, no ladder, no heroic suffering. Mulberry handles cold, heat, clay, and neglect better than most pampered fruit trees. Give it full sun, ordinary soil, and water only during the first year. Too much fertilizer pushes leaves and wood instead of fruit. The poorer the treatment, the tougher the tree becomes. Number 9. Pomegranate, Punica granatum, the graveyard fruit that refuses to die. Stop paying premium prices for bottled pomegranate juice and pretending it is the same as owning the tree. A bottle gives you a processed shadow. A tree gives you fruit, flowers, medicine folklore, and independence. Ancient cultures treated pomegranate as a symbol of life after death for a reason. It looks delicate, but it survives like a stone. The power of pomegranate comes from its polyphenols, especially punicalagins, which are widely studied for antioxidant activity. That does not mean the fruit is magic. It means this is not just sweet red juice. It is a tough, bitter, complex fruit built by a tree that evolved in dry, rocky regions where weakness disappears quickly. For people with bad backs, the trick is shaping. Pomegranate wants to grow as a large shrub, with branches bending downward when heavy with fruit. Do not let it become a tangled mess at ankle level. Train it into a single trunk or open vase shape. Remove low suckers, keep the canopy around chest to eye height, and suddenly the fruit is right in front of you. You harvest standing up, not bent over like a servant to your own garden. It loves heat. Zone 7 to 10 is ideal, though colder gardeners can grow it in a large pot and protect it through winter. Give it the hottest wall, the brightest sun, and soil that drains fast. Gravelly, alkaline, even ugly soil is fine. Rich, wet soil makes it lazy and leafy. Water deeply but rarely in summer, and barely at all in winter. With pomegranate, stress is not abuse. Stress is the signal that tells the tree to fruit. Number 8. Fig, Ficus carica, the fruit the supermarket can't control. There is a reason fresh figs rarely look good in stores. A truly ripe fig is too soft, too fragrant, too alive for the shipping system. It bruises, ferments, collapses, and exposes the weakness of industrial food. That is why the best fig is almost always the one you pick yourself. Figs are ancient. They were among the earliest fruits humans learned to grow, and they survived because they are stubborn. Their roots push through poor soil and cracks where more delicate trees give up. Fig leaves and latex contain active enzymes such as phycin, and traditional cultures used different parts of the tree in practical household ways. But the real point is simpler. This tree turns heat, neglect, and a little space into soft, sweet fruit. Now, for a bad back, do not let a fig become a tall, awkward tree. Train it. One of the best methods is espalier. Plant it near a warm, south-facing wall and tie the main branches horizontally at waist and chest height. Fruit forms along those arms, right where your hands naturally reach. You walk up, feel for softness, and pick. No ladder, no bending, no drama. Figs do well in zones 6 to 11, and cold climate growers can choose hardy types like Chicago Hardy. Even if winter knocks it down, the roots often survive and send up new growth. Give it full sun, sharp drainage, and modest soil. Too much nitrogen gives you a jungle of leaves with little fruit. Water when young, then back off. A slightly stressed fig often gives sweeter fruit than a pampered one. Number 7. Jujube, Ziziphus jujuba, the desert sleep fruit. If back pain keeps you awake at night, you already know how expensive sleep can become. There is always another bottle, another capsule, another promise. But long before modern sleep marketing, Chinese medicine used jujube, or dazao, as a calming fruit. We do not need to exaggerate it. Some old foods survived for a reason. Jujube fruit contains flavonoids, saponins, and compounds such as jujubicides that have been studied for calming effects. It is also famously high in vitamin C when fresh. Dried, it becomes chewy, sweet, and shelf-stable, almost like nature's survival candy. And unlike fragile fruits, jujube does not need a perfect orchard. It was built for heat, drought, and punishment. For the aching back, the harvest is the gift. You can wait until the fruits turn reddish-brown and begin to wrinkle, then spread a tarp, tap the branches or trunk with a long pole, and let the fruit fall. You can gather a huge amount without crawling around under the tree. The thorns also make it naturally deer-resistant, which means less fencing, less chasing pests, and less labor. Plant jujube in full sun, preferably in sandy or gravelly soil. Zone 6 to 9 is common, but the hotter the summer, the happier it becomes. Keep it away from soggy ground. If your yard is humid or heavy, plant it on a mound so water drains away from the root crown. Do not spoil it with manure. Do not drown it. Treat it almost like a cactus with branches, and it will respect you. Pause for a second. We have already covered 4 trees that do not ask you to kneel like gardening is a punishment. Mulberry, pomegranate, fig, and jujube all prove the same thing. The right tree can feed you while your back stays upright. And if this is the kind of brutal, useful gardening truth you want, subscribe to Garden Center Point. We are not here to make gardening prettier. We are here to make it smarter. Number 6. Blackthorn/sloe, Prunus spinosa, the fruiting fortress. The system sells you fences, security gadgets, ornamental shrubs, and then fruit from the supermarket. Blackthorn laughs at all of that. It is a thorny hedge, a wildlife barrier, a boundary marker, and a fruiting plant at the same time. Our ancestors used it for hedges because a dense blackthorn wall is not decoration, it is a warning. The fruit, called sloe, is a wild relative of the plum. Raw, it is extremely astringent because of its tannins. That mouth-drying bitterness is exactly why traditional people valued it in small, careful uses. After frost, the fruit softens, the harshness drops, and the flavor becomes more useful for preserves, syrups, or the famous sloe gin. The cold does part of the processing for you. For gardeners with bad backs, blackthorn should not be babied into a polite little tree. Let it form a thicket at the edge of your yard, where you need privacy or protection anyway. When fruit ripens, you harvest from the outside at chest height with gloves, or tap branches with a stick and collect what drops onto a tarp. You are not pruning roses, you are managing a living fortress. Blackthorn thrives in zones 3 to 7 and tolerates cold, wind, clay, chalk, and rough conditions. It wants full sun and poor soil. Rich soil only makes it too leafy and soft. Give it room because it can sucker and spread. But if you place it where a hedge belongs, that strength becomes an advantage instead of a problem. Tree number 5. Cornelian cherry, Cornus mass, the ironwood cherry that blooms before spring. Sweet cherry trees are beautiful, but for a bad back they can become a trap. They grow tall, attract birds, demand protection, and tempt people onto ladders. Cornelian cherry offers a different bargain. It stays smaller, blooms in late winter, handles cold, and gives tart red fruit without acting like a spoiled orchard princess. It is not a true cherry. It is a dogwood, and the old name Cornus connects to its hard, horn-like wood. The fruit is rich in vitamin C, anthocyanins, and other plant compounds that made it valuable in traditional food and preserves across Europe and Asia. Fresh, it can be tart. Cooked into jam, syrup, or sauce, it becomes something much deeper. Its shape is what makes it friendly. Cornelian cherry naturally grows as a large shrub or small tree, often around 10 to 15 feet. While young, remove the lowest branches and train it into a multi-stemmed, open form. The fruiting zone stays around chest and head height, and if ripe fruit drops, it is firmer than sweet cherries, so you can collect it with less panic and less mess. Grow it in zones 4 to 8. It accepts sun or partial sun, though more sun means more fruit. It likes decent drainage and steady moisture when young, but after establishment it is not needy. Avoid heavy nitrogen. If you prune, do it after fruiting or in late summer, not when the sap is rising. This tree rewards patience, not fussing. Number 4. Lemon, Citrus limon, the tree that brings the fruit up to your hands. A single supermarket lemon can feel insulting when you know what a healthy small citrus tree can produce. The lie is that lemons are impossible unless you buy endless specialty products. In reality, many people kill lemons by doing too much water, too much fertilizer, too much panic. Lemon peel is loaded with aromatic oils such as limonene and citral. That is why it smells sharp, clean, and almost electric. These oils are used in cleaners, flavorings, and traditional home practices. But the value for a home grower is even more direct. Lemons turn meals, tea, marinades, and preserved foods into something brighter without another trip to the store. For a bad back, choose a dwarf type like improved Meyer lemon and grow it in a pot on wheels or on a raised stand. This changes everything. The soil level comes up. The fruiting canopy sits near your hands. You can prune, water, inspect leaves, and harvest without folding yourself in half. If you live in a cold place, the pot also lets you roll it indoors before frost. In warm zones 9 to 11, lemons can grow outside. In colder zones, treat them as patio trees. They need strong sun, ideally 8 hours, and fast-draining citrus or cactus-style mix. Water only when the topsoil dries and the leaves begin to ask for it. Wet roots are the real enemy. In winter, give light, cool temperatures and less water. Do that, and the tree stops being fragile and starts becoming a small, productive machine. Number 3. Kumquat, Citrus japonica, the citrus you eat whole. Kumquat is strange in the best possible way. You do not peel it. You eat the whole fruit. Sweet skin, sour flesh, bright oils, seeds and all if you can tolerate them. While lemons make you squeeze, kumquats let you reach out and eat. That matters when every extra kitchen step feels like another small tax on your body. The peel carries aromatic compounds like limonene and pinene, and the fruit gives fiber and vitamin C in a tiny package. In many Asian households, kumquat is associated with winter, the throat, and seasonal comfort. It is not a miracle drug. It is a small tree that puts sharp, living flavor within arm's reach. For gardeners with bad backs, buy a standard grafted kumquat if possible, with a clean trunk and a round canopy sitting around chest height. Let it grow slowly. Do not turn it into a tangled bush on the floor. In a pot near a sunny patio, it becomes almost absurdly convenient. Bright orange fruit hanging like ornaments, close enough to pick while standing. Kumquat is one of the more cold-tolerant citrus types, often suitable for zones 8 to 11, with protection during harsher cold. In colder regions, keep it in a container and move it into shelter. It wants full sun, sharp drainage, and less winter water. Cold, wet soil is more dangerous than cold air. If the leaves yellow, do not automatically add more water. Check drainage first. Kumquat rewards restraint. Number 2. Asian persimmon, Diosporus kaki, the clean fruit tree that needs no ladder. Persimmons expose how wasteful modern food culture is. In the store, you pay per fruit and wait for ripeness like a fool. In old yards, one neglected tree can carry hundreds, with fruit glowing like lanterns after the leaves fall. That is the kind of abundance people forget because nobody put a barcode on it. Asian persimmon fruit contains carotenoids, such as beta-carotene and other antioxidant pigments. The leaves have also been used as tea in Japan and Korea. But the deeper value is this. Persimmon is often cleaner and less pest-ridden than many common fruit trees. It does not beg for constant spraying, and it does not collapse just because you ignored it for a week. The danger is height. A full-size persimmon can get too tall, and ladders are not heroic when your back is already angry. So choose carefully. Pick a grafted tree, preferably a manageable variety like fuyu or hachia on suitable rootstock, and cut the central leader early around 5 feet. This pushes the tree outward into a broad, low umbrella. As fruit develops, branches naturally droop, bringing the harvest down toward you. Persimmon likes zones 7 to 10, hot summers, long autumns, and full sun. Give it deep but infrequent watering during dry spells. Do not sprinkle every day because shallow watering creates shallow roots. Let the soil dry, then water deeply. Avoid overly rich soil and heavy nitrogen, which create useless shoots instead of fruit. Your job is not to spoil the tree. Your job is to shape it once, then let it mature. Number 1. Prickly pear cactus, Opuntia ficus indica, the desert blade, the misunderstood monster. Now we arrive at the monster. Prickly pear looks hostile. Flat green pads, sharp spines, tiny invisible glochids, and fruit that seems designed to punish careless hands. That is why many people fear it. But fear is not the same as wisdom. During hard droughts, when grass dies, vegetables collapse, and ordinary fruit trees beg for water, prickly pear keeps converting sun into food. The fruit, often called tuna, can be deep red, sweet, and refreshing. The pads, or nopales, have long been eaten in Mexico and the American Southwest. They contain mucilage and fiber, which is why they have been studied as part of blood sugar-conscious diets. The red fruit contains betalain pigments, the same colorful antioxidant family that makes it look almost unreal. Again, do not turn it into a cure. Treat it as what it is, one of the toughest edible plants on Earth. And for a bad back, the spines are not a deal breaker. They are a reminder to use tools. You do not harvest prickly pear with bare hands. You stand upright with long barbecue tongs, twist the ripe red fruit, and drop it into a bucket. Some people use a can fixed to a pole. Then the tiny glochids can be scrubbed, rinsed, or burned off over a flame. The work happens at arm's length. Your spine stays out of the negotiation. This plant wants the cruelest spot you have: blazing sun, reflected heat, gravel, broken stone, sandy soil, and almost no water. In dry soil, some types survive surprising cold, even into snowy regions, but wet winter soil can rot them fast, so drainage is everything. Do not plant it in rich loam. Do not water it like tomatoes. Do not pity it. Prickly pear is the rare plant that turns neglect into fruit. That is why it earns the #1 spot. So there it is, 10 trees and fruiting plants for people who are tired of gardening on their knees. Mulberry rains berries. Pomegranate fruits under stress. Fig bends to your wall. Jujube drops its harvest. Blackthorn becomes a fence. Cornelian cherry stays manageable. Lemon and kumquat bring citrus into pots. Persimmon becomes a low umbrella. And prickly pear turns brutal sunlight into food. This is not the glossy garden fantasy sold to people with perfect backs. This is practical food independence for people who have already paid enough with their joints, money, and time. Pick one tree, just one. Put it where your body can actually work with it, not against it. Raise the pot. Train the branches. Keep the fruit at arm's height. Then, stop worshiping the supermarket. If this helped you, subscribe to Garden Centerpoint. The next video will expose even more plants that quietly feed people while the system keeps selling dependence. Stand tall, grow smart, and let them hate the fact that you are feeding yourself.